Welcome to another episode of We Don't Die, where my goal is to give you evidence that although our bodies will disappear, we survive physical death. Every episode, we explore this topic with fantastic men and women who have some incredible stories to tell us, and many have made sharing the reality of life after death their life's purpose. I'm your host, Sandra Champlain, author of the international bestseller, We Don't Die, a skeptic's discovery of life after death. And here with me today, I have a magnificent human being. I have Luis Minero, and I just spent a few minutes talking to Luis just before we press the record button, and he is so extraordinary that I even told him that I think I'm going to botch up explaining to the world who he is, because after watching a YouTube video that I just saw him at, there's a whole new world of possibility that I didn't even know existed. So I'll let him explain all the details, but some of the things that I just got out of this YouTube video is Luis is the education director globally of something called the IAC, the International Academy of Consciousness. And they study something called conscientology, and Luis will correct me if I said that wrong, because I think I did, but it's the study of the soul, the spirit, and most specifically the phenomena of out-of-body experiences. And as we know, we've spoken with some of our guests have had near-death experiences, and out-of-body experiences, near-death experiences, that is our soul leaving our bodies. Luis is a brilliant man. He speaks English, Spanish, Portuguese, and German. He's toured around the globe talking about out-of-body experiences. He's been featured on a number of television and radio programs around the world. He's been the subject of interviews in magazines, newspapers, and periodicals. He's just brilliant. So I do know that this is a brand new subject for me, something I don't know anything about. So I'm going to welcome Luis to the show and have him tell us more about the world that he lives in. So hi, Luis.
Hi, how are you doing, Sandra?
I'm
Thank
great.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Really a pleasure.
Oh, absolutely. And could you talk just a little bit about yourself? Because I did an introduction, but I just want to hear more. What has a person like you go into a field like this? Obviously, I'm guessing it started at a young age that you must have been fascinated. Is that
It,
right?
it did, exactly. What happened actually in my case is that I had my first out-of-body experience, which was involuntarily spontaneous when I was 12. And at that time, I didn't know that there was a name for it or, techniques or anything, really. I just had it. It was pretty obvious that I was outside my body.
What do you
But
mean? Can you just be a little more specific about
sure,
that?
sure.
Like
I,
what
I
that would
sure
be like?
I can tell you the exact. I was
Okay, sure.
in my bedroom, and I actually had at that time. This was in the early '80s. I had a computer. Maybe listeners are going to laugh at this, but the brand was Atari. So it's not a game actually, but it was an actual computer that had a basic, the programming language.
Right.
And I used to come home from school and fool around with it, do little programs, at that age, really just a kid playing with the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And that afternoon, I actually became sleepy, and I went to, it was in my bedroom, so I lie down in my bed. And maybe about a half an hour later, I remember I was staring at the screen, still with my hands on the keyboard, the way I would always, spend sometimes time thinking about the program. And after a while, it sort of like dawned on me that I remember having gone to bed. And when I realized this, I turned around and I saw my body in the bed. And I immediately went into the body. I was a little surprised, but I woke up and I realized I was out there, but I was here, but I was out there. So I really
Oh,
couldn't make sense of it. But it was very obvious for me that I had been outside my body. But the experience was, so normal, so natural. And I think probably after that, somebody called me to go play soccer, and I just completely forgot it, just like any kid that is into 100 different things.
right.
But then I kept having them more or less not too often, every 8 months, every year and a half or so. I even remember maybe when I was around 15 or so, 16, even sometimes thinking you know, I wish I can have that type of like cool dream, I guess. I really didn't even know what to call them. And it wasn't until I was maybe like 16 or 17 that I read the first book on it. And then that author, explained that, he called it astral travel,
Mm-hmm.
and he had a couple of techniques and everything. And really, since I had them since an early age, even though I studied chemistry, which sometimes people think that it's a little bit contradictory,
Right.
the scientific mind, with the spiritual experiences, so to speak. But in my perspective, it's not a contradiction at all. The fact that we can have these experiences and that we can develop these experiences doesn't mean we need to lose our logic, our discernment, our associations of ideas. And actually, that even helps outside the body because we keep on being very grounded, very stable, and always questioning things, being a healthy skeptic.
I
So
love that. And even on the YouTube video, don't believe anything, experiment, have your own experiences. You're not out trying to tell anybody what is. It's like you want people to experience it themselves.
exactly, yeah,
And
because
it's
if
awesome.
yeah, yeah, even though we do a certain amount of research and we try to provide, more like the conventional data about the out-of-body experiences, what we have seen really is that what helps people the more, especially in the sense of the idea of proof, is that when they have the out-of-body experience, even if the reports or the amount of conventional data hasn't accumulated enough for, the scientific community to conclude that, the out-of-body experiences are real, for the person, it's already real. The person doesn't need to wait, 10 or 20 years, for that
Yes.
consensus to be arrived at. So, so we see the benefits that come to them, by having an out-of-body experiences by
Yes.
themselves.
Every person I've spoken to who's had a near-death experience or has been with a loved one at the moment of death, and sometimes the loved ones can actually see through the veil, and um, they're so awesome that they leave the person living a different kind of life. So that's what it sounds like is, when people have the out of body experience, it's like they wake up to some new reality, and then they don't have to wait for the consensus to come 20 years later that, oh yeah, that's true. And it causes them to have a different kind of life. Um, so the title of this show, Lewis, is We Don't Die. So coming from your analytical background and out-of-body experiences, how would you uh, describe your thoughts about life after death and that we don't die? Do you have thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would, first of all, I would agree 100%.
Okay,
We
good.
don't, yes, we certainly don't die. Meaning the physical body certainly is deactivated,
Yes.
with, it goes away. The physical body is like, like a machine, like a vehicle, like a car after so many miles, and
Mm-hmm.
there aren't enough spare parts, I guess, to
Right?
put in there, that the vehicle gets tired and, it passes away. But we, us, the essence, the soul, the spirit, or the consciousness, as we call it, we keep on living. We keep on having experiences. We can, just like in near-death experiences, we can meet deceased relatives. We can encounter other spiritual beings, and we are back at in these astral or spiritual planes or dimensions from where we came from, in essence. And something that is interesting about the out-of-body experience, of course, is that the person, just like in the case of the near-death experience, the person can have the experience, verify this on their own, and then come back and continue living their life without necessarily having, fear of death or hesitation because of this, future transition into those realms.
Wow. I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to ask you next. So keep talking if you would. Because,
Okay, okay, sure.
yeah, I really am, because you've cracked the door open on a new world. And even though I've known about near-death experiences, and I want to share something because you're talking about out experiences. And throughout my life, it's only happened maybe a dozen times, but there have been moments that I am in my bed and I am awake and I am clear about that. but I feel like I'm at the point just before sleep, and I have had experiences that are as real to me as when I'm wide awake. I can feel with every sense. But there's
Hmm.
things like flying above the ocean or above the mountains, or so I don't know if I'm a bird or not, but or I've been driving in a car, but it is as real to me as what I feel right now. It's not a dream. Um, because I can smell, I
Right.
can feel the wind. I mean, it is so real. And then what normally has happened is that it scares me, and then all of a sudden I open my eyes like, oh, what was that? Because if I try to stay there, it's something like my conscious mind has kicked in, and then that knocks me out of it. So I don't know if that is an out of body experience. I would kind of think so, but
It, you know, it sounds like it. I mean, it would be very difficult for me to 100%
sure.
conclude that it is, but it sounds like it by your description, because when we are in an out-of-body experience, we feel as aware, as conscious as the waking condition, as the right
Yes.
now. Even sometimes, in our classes to our students, I sort of like joking, but also trying to put this question out to them for them to see the difference. I tell them at this moment, for example, that you're listening to our class, or even to our listeners at this moment, whenever they listen to this conversation here between us, they can think, am I dreaming this show that I am hearing, or am I
Right.
awake of it? And of course, I'm sure nobody's going to need to pinch themselves. They all know that they are awake and aware. And then in this same condition, exactly in the same condition, we find ourselves outside the body when we're having a classical, typical OBE. So we don't really confuse it with a dream, and we don't really confuse it also with being awake. We know that we are in some different kind of state, but very conscious, very very lucid.
Oh, that's
And
incredible.
yeah, and that, by the way, is something that can be developed, can be learned. It's a little bit like a sport, or like